Hey everyone, I hope you all are safe and doing good. So in the series of learning C++ programming language, in the previous video we have seen what are access specifiers, private, public and protected. Right? Now although we haven't discussed protected because that is used in inheritance and that thing we'll discuss later in the C++ course. Right? So we have discussed private and public with the help of examples. Right? Now in this video we'll see how to implement class methods. I hope you know what are class methods. These are simply functions, but these functions are not free floating function in the program. These functions are, bound to a specific class. That is why these are known as methods. Right? Class, member functions or methods we can say. More specifically, if we say, then we, call them member functions. Right? Or methods also we can say. Right? Now, how to implement those methods? Till now we were implementing or we were defining those methods inside the class only, right? Those deposit and withdraw and all. Inside the class only we have just defined those functions, so right? So that is also fine. But there are three ways basically to implement class methods. One is inside the class, second is outside the class, and third is separate the specifications of those methods from the implementation, from the actual definition, right? So declaration and definition would be different. I mean, this inside the class, outside the class, this would be obviously within the same file, whatever we create like .cpp program, right? But here we divide our project or that our program into two files. One is .h file and one is .cpp file. In .h file, only the declaration of the class and those methods only within that class, no implementation of those methods, and one separate .cpp file where we implement those methods, right? So generally in software development, when we are using this OOPS concept, generally that would be divided, the project or that thing would be divided into two files. One is .h file, one is .cpp file. We don't put everything in a single file when you are dealing with the projects, large projects, right, at industry level. This is recommended. Just put your declarations of your classes, functions, global variables, macro definitions in a separate file and the implementation or definition of those things in a separate file, right? You will be habitual of using these two files and all. Once we'll be moving further in this course and discussing projects and more programs. Right. So three ways to implement class methods. I'll show you all the three ways. Inside we have seen to somewhat, but I'll show you that thing also. How to implement outside and how to do this thing with the help of these two files. This already we have discussed in one of the coding exercises. Not in the previous video, but I think previous video we have discussed one coding exercise. There we have taken two classes, .h and .cpp. You can go and watch that video also. Okay, now first let's see inside the class how to define class methods inside this class. So let's create a new file first within this C++ workspace only. Okay, so let's have a class account. We have string name and balance. Okay, this is undefined because you are not using those std, the namespace. I haven't used here using namespace std, that is why you have to separately include std and the scope resolution operator. Fine. Okay, these two are private because I haven't specified anything here. And let's take method now, public. So see, I have told you in previous video, these attributes name and balance are private. So if you want to access or set or get the values of these things, we generally use getter and setter methods, right? So let's take one method, set balance, and balance is equal to whatever the amount you pass, that would be the balance. And one is get method, so it is going to return the balance, so return type would be int. If you want to check out the balance, you just call get balance and it is going to return whatever the balance is, right? So these are two getter and setter methods. So this is the way we are defining these methods or implementing these methods inside the class. So this is the first way, right? But generally this method is used for short and Inline functions, the functions which are having only one line of definition, which are very short, sweet, right? Like this. I have only one line of definition of this function. So these are like type of short function or inline function, right? Now I have one more function, deposit or any other function which is having 2, 3, 4 lines of code, right? So obviously we will not define that within the class. That is not recommended. You can define that, but that is not recommended because we want our class to be, a short and sweet and crispy. What I'm saying about this class, these words crispy and sweet, the short class, right? So that easily by looking at that class we get the idea. These are the methods, these are the attributes and all. It's not like that we have 3, 4 functions and every function we are defining within the class only, right? The class would be very lengthy, right? That would not be recommended. So inside the class, just define those functions which can be considered as inline functions, mainly those getter and setter methods. These we define within the class. So this is one way you can define the methods within the class only. Right? Second way is outside of the class. Now suppose I have 2 more functions. I want to deposit something and suppose I want to withdraw something. So I'm just declaring these methods within this class. I'm not defining, I'm not implementing this within the class. I'm going to implement these outside of the class, but within that same CPP file, within that same file program. So outside of the class we can define. It's not compulsory that you have to define these within the main function only. Outside of the class just define, but how to define, proper syntax you have to follow. You have to tell that this deposit. It's not like that directly write void deposit and something like this, like double money, and here just what we do is we update the balance, right? Something like this. See, we cannot access balance. The balance is undefined because when you define a function something like this, it will search for a free function because this function is not bound to any class or any particular thing. It is a free function, void deposit. This is kind of regular function we are using, right? So you have to tell the compiler that this deposit function is, bound with a specific class. You have to tell that thing, right? So how to tell that thing? First the return type, then the class name. This thing is important. Then scope resolution operator, then the function name, and then see. Now there is no error. Now as we know, like we have tell the compiler that deposit function is from this class account. And yeah, obviously this is public method. So using this public method, we can access balance, which is a private class member, private attribute of this class, right? It's private. If you want to specify, then you can write down here private. This also will work, right? So there is no error now. This is how you can define outside of the class. Same, suppose let's define this withdraw also. Okay, here we don't have money. We have the the parameter name. This name is amount. Also, you can write down here amount. Don't worry. It's okay. Any name you can take. But this and this should be same, right? So this is how we can define outside of the class, right? Now, if you want to check like if they are working or not, then let's create an object of this class in main. I hope you can see the coding. Class name is account, and let's take here account1, the object name, right? And we haven't taken anything to set and get the name, so directly here only I just write down name equal to Jayanti Khatri. Or using get and set methods, you can just set the name, right? Like we have set the balance. So account1 dot See, here you will not see any option of accessing those name and balance because these are private. All these things are public, you can access these things. So if you want to set the balance, just call this and some balance, let's set. Right. Now if you want to check out the balance, then just call this get balance. And obviously this is going to return get balance. So directly if you call this something like this, you will not get any output. Let me just run this and I'll show you. See, you are not getting any output because it is returning something get balance, but you are not accepting that thing somewhere. You are just calling. So either you take a int variable and something like this, or you can just directly call this in cout. Whatever it will return, this will print. So std, you have to use the namespace in which this cout is. Now let's run this and see. 10,000 rupees. You got it now? Right, so this is how you can define and declare. Or if you want to just call all other functions, dot deposit, and I want to deposit some money. And now I want to check the money, account 1, that the balance has been updated or not. So obviously cout, and before that std. Let's run this and see the updated balances. Okay, let's just first comment out this line. So first balance was 10,000, then it was, suppose let's 10,000 again add. So it would be 20,000. The balance would be 20,000. See, 20,000. You got it? Right? Now third thing. Now we are going to separate the specifications from the implementation. Right? So for that we'll create one .h file, one .cpp file, right? And see, let me just show you that thing also. We will just take this class, right? And we will, let's create a new file and I'll show you. Implement 3.h, because this is the third way to implement. So here we will take only the declaration of the class, that's it, no definition and all, right? So from this we just take this class, we cut this class from this .cpp file and just paste this here, right? So yeah, we are using this string here. So obviously what you have to include, now we have this thing, only the class, although we have these functions inside the class we have defined, that thing we can do. Or you don't want to define, you can just just declare these functions and define in other cpp file. But let's keep it as it is. I'll show you with these two functions, right? Okay. Now in this cpp file we just define these functions and we are calling these functions with this. One way is this also we can do, right? Within this only we have main function. But here one problem is, see, this account, we don't know like where this account, from where this account class is where, because within this cpu file there is no account class, right? This account class is within this .h file. So you have to include that .h file first here, hash include, and how to include. So you got it, account.h. Sorry, it's not account.h. We have second name, implement 3.h. Right? Now see, there is no error. And there are not angular brackets. Angular brackets are used, this kind of bracket are used to include those standard system libraries. Those are defined, string, IO, string, vector and all. This is, we have our own module of our project, right? So you have defined your own module with the .h extension. So that is why if to implement these kind of thing, we use double quotation mark. This is the convention of the rule, kind of rule, right? Now here we have defined this and we are just accessing. So let me show you, just run this and we'll see what output you are getting. You should get 20,000 here also, right? Let's run this. See, output is 20,000. Although it will be a little bit slower because it will check all the hash include preprocessor, it will check, okay, it's in .h file, so it will check this file and all, right? But here one problem is, if you include this .h file 2 times, suppose by mistake I have included here also by mistake. So let's run this and see, it will show you one error. See, there are redefinition of the class account, previous definition of the class account. 2 times you have defined this class here also, right? So to take care of this thing, what we can do, either you have to take care only one time, you have to remember include this class, or second thing, maybe you are dealing with large projects, we don't know, like suppose one place we have included that class, at some other point also we are using those classes from .h file, the files, again we want to include, again we have accidentally include, then it will give error. So we can do one thing to avoid this thing, we can use hash include guards, right? And what is that thing? Let me just show you. Before this, just include hash if n def, if n def, and then the guard name. So any name you can take, but generally we take like those name as name of our file. So implement 3 is our file. So generally we take that name, or we can take this account also, the class name, or any name, ABC also you can take. Suppose I am taking here ABC, let's see, underscore h, but the name should be in caps, right? That is general convention of writing hash include. So, and this would be preceded and succeeded with underscore. Then hash define hash ABC underscore h underscore. Right, and after that, after completion, hash and if. This is compulsory, right? This is kind of, we can say, macro, right? Now hash if n def, we can say it will avoid to be included the same header file multiple times within the same CPP file, .cpp file, or the same translation unit, more precisely if you say, right? Or for now you don't understand the translation unit, I just call within the same CPP file, right? So now see, now suppose I have included this 2 times, and let me just show you, run this and I'll show you the output. See, it will not give any error, 20,000. Why so? Because once it will see hash include and all, it will go to this .h and it will see the hash include guards. If not defined, it means ndef means if not defined this header, then define this, right? And whatever is there after this hash define line, that would be included and all. Till this ndef, right? Now again it will see hash include implement 3.h, again like it will check this. So the first condition is if not defined ABC and h, I mean the name of that hash include guard, but it has already been defined because we have already imported or included that header already previously, right? So already defined, so this will not give true. If not defined means, yeah, it will give false because already defined. So that is why we will not enter here and directly and if, that's it. So whatever is there within this, whatever the class and all, that would not be included again, or that would not be defined again. That is why you will not get any error. That is why we generally in .h file we use these hash include guards. These are known as hash include guards. The name you can take anything, ABC, generally we take implement 3, I mean the name of that module and all, right? And we preceded, these are preceded with underscore and ending will also be with then underscore, right? You can take any name and you can check if you not take these underscore or not, that would work or not, that is up to you, right? And one thing also we can do, generally we do in a project is, we have .h file, just define this, and in one CPP file, let's create one CPP file, implement 3.cpp. The same name, .h header file is having same name with .cpp, and here within this CPP we are having definition of these functions. So let's define these functions. Control X from this and let's define here, right? Now obviously for this you have to include implement.h. You got it? Here we have just this implement.h and we are just defining these two functions. That's it, nothing else, no main function at all. And one more, main CPP file. There we have our main function. We just create the object and we can call. That's it. So we have 3 files now. As many files as you can have in your project, right? Don't worry. So in one, I hope you are getting what I am trying to do here. In .cpp we have this thus, and let's create one more file and let's name this only the main.cpp or main underscore implement3.cpp, because I guess I am having main.cpp in this workspace, so it will not work. So main underscore implement3.cpp, or you just create another project of another folder for your project and keep all the files related to that project in that folder only. Main implement. So here we have just these things, Control C and just Control V. So just include this only once, delete this, although we have used those guards, so you will not get any error. Here I am just creating account object and I am just accessing those things. That's it. So 3 files basically we have, right? So .cpp file, all the .cpp file, one of those project would be compiled and create their, they'll be created those what we can say object file, right? And the linker will link all these objects file, right? And then give you the output, right? You just have to run your main file. There we have main function. Obviously, to start compilation or to run the program, the driver is main only, so you will run this file only, right? So let me just show you. I don't think so it will work. Okay, let's show you. Otherwise we will run it manually. Let's run this main file. Here we have main. Let's run this and definitely you will get error. See, undefined reference to account deposit and all. Okay, you have undefined reference to this account one.deposit, because this function is defined in this implement3.cpp. So this .o file object, the linker is not able to link these files. Okay, let's run this manually and I'll figure out this, and in the next video we'll see that thing also. So one more way is, let's run this. Okay, it will give error. We'll run this with the help of proper commands. So the command is g++ and two CPP file we have .cpp file, right? One is main underscore implement3.cpp and the next is implement3.cpp. I hope it works. Implement3.cpp. I'm not sure. See, this is the command. I hope you can see this. Okay, let me just fine. To CPP file I'm going to compile. So let's run this, and yeah, we got this. Definitely we have that a.exe file. I don't know where it is, but let me just run this. How to run this? This and a.exe. See, 20,000. We are getting the correct output, right? But manually we are, compiling and running this program because of some error. Linker is not able to link all the object file of all these CPP files. But I'll figure out this thing. You got this? 20,000. We got this, no? This is the correct output. So like this, here we have 3 files. One is .h file, just having the declaration of our class, right? Or defining this definition of those get and set methods. One is .cpp file, that is having only a definition or implementation of those methods, Third one is our main file. There we are just creating object and calling all the class members or methods of that class, right? So when you will be working on large project now, then you will do this method. You will separate up your project in different files. There can be 3, 4, 5, 6 multiple files. One would be .h file, another would be .cpp file and all, and one is main file, right? I hope you got the three methods inside the class, outside the class, and how to define, how to separate the specification from the implementation, what are hash include guards and all. I think video is lengthy little bit. So if you are watching till the end, till now, then please let me know in comment section. And the target, I generally don't do this thing, but just to keep me motivated, I just keep the target of the likes on this video 500 only, right? So now that's it for this video.